These two tricks will elevate your playing, so try them out. Okay, so as you might have seen, the next method is by using the open strings. And this can be utilized almost everywhere. So using the open strings is a very popular approach to adding notes. But what many players do is often utilize only the high E string and neglect the rest of them. And that's probably because it's the easiest and most simple approach. So let's understand for a sec how to add the open strings and how to be able to add more open strings aside from the high E string. The simplest way to add an open string is by incorporating a pull-off whenever we want to play them. And that's where it begins and ends with many players. But we're gonna go beyond this. So a very cool way of utilizing the open strings is by picking the open string as well after using a pull-off to it. So look at this, for example, we're gonna pick 7 on the high E string, pull off to 0, and then pick 0 again. Now do this on a couple more notes. Now try combining these two methods. Another cool way is by picking an open string, hammering the note you want to hammer, and then using a pull off back to the open string. And now using these 3 cool methods, you can do so many cool stuff. But as we said, it does not end with the high E string. What about the B string and the G string? Well, you'll find that if you try to pull off to an open note in the B string, it's a bit tricky, because we hit the high E string as well. And that creates noise and clutter. That's why many players tend to stick only to the high E string. And that's where your picking hand comes to play. So obviously it's possible to do all these things on the rest of the strings as well. So what's the secret? Well, I'm going to hold the strings that are susceptible to making noise after doing this pull-off. Not mute like we do with sweeping, but actually physically hold them. So if I'm going to do this maneuver on the B string, my 3rd and 4th fingers are going to be on the E string, the high E string, and they're going to hold it. So while they're holding it, I can be sure that this string won't do any noise. And when we're afraid that the G string might cause problems as well, we're gonna hold it with the pick, and then the rest of the job is going to be on our left hand. And this grants us a super clean and smooth sound. So in short, we're gonna have to hold the adjacent strings to the string we're going to do this maneuver on. So take these principles and apply them to the rest of the strings as well. And utilizing the open strings to move around the board is such a cool feature. So we can do something like this, or we can make it look a bit cooler. Okay, let's get to the next one. Okay, so this next trick we're going to talk about is using octaves. And that means playing the same note twice, once on a lower pitch and then once on the higher pitch. So let's say our first finger is on the 3rd string, 5th fret. This same note can be found on the 1st string if we go up 3 frets. So if we're playing 5 on the 3rd string, we can play 8 on the 1st string. So we have an octave. Same goes for the D string and the B string. 5 and 8. Now the A string and the E strings are a bit different. Instead of going 3 frets up, we go only 2. So we can play 5 on the A string and then 7 on the G string. Same goes for the low E string. So we can play 5 and then 7 on the D string. So let's say you're playing these couple of notes. Whether it's in a solo or whatever, just by adding octaves, you can add so much more life to this mundane run. And the cool thing is, you don't have to stick to only one set of strings. So now I stuck with only one set, the G and the E strings. But you can mix all of them together. So now let's talk about ways to connect these octaves to sound smooth. We're not gonna pick them note by note like this. even though it is a possibility. Instead, we're gonna utilize some slides to make them sound smooth and connect with the melody we're playing. So my favorite way is going to be picking the low note, the high note, and then the low note again, and then sliding to the next note or octave I'm trying to play. So like this. And then just continuing on. Another way is by sliding using the high notes. So we're going to do this. But sliding using our pinky is going to be a bit more challenging than sliding using our first finger. We can also combine these two, so we can slide from the lower note and then from the higher note. But if you do want to alternate pick everything, a cool way is by picking the high note twice and then the low note twice as well. Mind you, it's a bit harder. So it's gonna sound like this. So a simple example of using this, let's say we're currently playing on the A minor pentatonic right here. And we want to move somewhere up to the 12 plus frets. So we could do something like this. And now we're at this position, free to do whatever you want. Thanks for watching.